Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we had the off-season, and we did sign a couple of former players. Sea-Doo is making his return, and we also did bring in former goaltender of ours in Vic Benson. So our goaltending has improved, but we did lose like Carter Ortiz, so our offensive core is definitely dropping off a bit. But we do have a good, solid 1-2 punch in net, so I'm hoping that could help us this season. Also, our defensive core still looks somewhat decent as well, so who knows, maybe this team will have a surprisingly good season. Actually, let's go with that as our defensive pairings. That looks a little bit better. And then, yeah, you can see forward-wise that we do have a lot of guys that are more like third-liners, but at least our team still has some 80s and stuff, so hoping for some decent seasons from guys like Petrovicky, King, Cole. Hopefully those guys could get some development because they're still kind of young, especially King and Petrovicky, I guess, because Cole's already 25. So, but it should be interesting to see what this team could do. We also actually brought back Evan Scuderi. I forgot about that. He was with us for most of his career, except for last year where he had 54 points. So hopefully he could help bring some offense for this third line. And then, yeah, like I said, defensive core still looks pretty strong. Taratugin's probably going to continue to drop off this season, but hopefully Sedin and Griffin could do really good, and then McGrattan's still signed here for a bit. So, and a youngster in Gerald Pitolny is going to get his chance at an NHL debut, so it should be interesting to see what he could do. He's a DFD, so not expecting much offensively, but maybe a good shutdown pairing player to play with Dane Lowe. So before we actually start simulating the season, I didn't check at the end of the last episode if there was any former players of ours in free agency at the start of the season, so we will check that out just to see if there's any players that can make our team a little bit better. If there's not, then we won't bring them in. There's still some 80 overall players in the NHL, and wow, okay, yo, I know what we could do. We could upgrade our defensive core again if we want to bring back Yip again because his asking price is coming down. Do I bolster our defensive core and bring back Yip? I could afford him. Any other former players here in free agency? Or no? Do I bring him back again? Because I brought him back a couple years ago. Oh, Duclair's our former player of ours. He's actually really cheap, so we'll sign him up. He could actually maybe make his team a little bit better. Because we need all the depth help we could get, you know. Anybody else that's relatively cheap that used to play with us, just so we could fill out a roster as best as possible. It doesn't look like it. Do I bring in Yip? I don't know. Yip is a good shutdown defender, but do I want to bring him back for a year? Let's see. Last year he was plus 36. Yeah, he's still really solid defensively. Like, he's a career plus 126. And you know what? 1 year deal. That's fine with me. We'll bring you in, Dante, and see if you want to play with us. And I would send down youngster and Pitolny probably back to the AHL, but it does bolster our team on defense a little bit more. And maybe we go for a little bit more of a defensive team to start the season. So, and he's going to accept that, and Duclair accepts too. Actually, we do also still have our RFA that was holding out in D. Salvatore. So we got to kind of sign him up and play him in the NHL too. So yeah, we don't have a whole lot of cap space anymore, but we're trying to go all out this year again. So D. Salvatore accepted probably, right? Yeah, there you go. Let's go to roster moves. Let's go to roster moves and call up some of those players and fill out our roster a little bit more. So AHL-wise, Yip needs up. Duclair maybe, and then De Salvatore maybe as well, which means actually now just call it Yip and Duclair for now. See if any of these guys are better fits on our team. Do I take a Jim Phillips to see if Duclair's a better fit there? He's the same fit, that's good, so we'll send down Phillips. And then Yip, is he a better fit on this defensive core? Pitolny actually works better than Dane Lowe. I might have to send down Dane Lowe, which is unfortunate. Let's see. Yep, is he going to work there? Yes, he is. Okay. So we are going to send down Dane Lowe, which I don't really like. And then I'm also going to send down Jim Phillips. But our defensive core definitely is a little bit stronger with this addition. Actually, we'll go McGrattan down there maybe. Yeah, we'll go with McGrattan down there. Why not? Yeah, we're going to send down Lowe and Phillips. It sucks to send down Dane Lowe. But now at least our defensive core is a bit stronger, and if we run into any defensive problems in the playoffs, we could call up Dane Lowe for the playoffs. We'll also send down Phillips, who at least is still 23, so he does have a chance to get some development down there. We will take out who down here in the minors. Wow, a lot of these guys are pretty young. Let's take out Moreau's, why not? And then we'll put in... Actually, I should call up DeSalvatore as well. Maybe. Not really a lot of room for DeSalvatore, but maybe he's better than Afinosenkov. Yeah, maybe he's better than Afinosenkov. We'll try and call him up and to see if he's a better fit than Afinosenkov is on that fourth line, and see if that helps us out or not. If not, DeSalvatore might be back in the AHL. Let's see, is he a better fit on this line than Afinosenkov? He is not. Okay, so DeSalvatore is getting sent back down for now. So we'll send him down. Unless, does DeSalvatore win faceoffs? He does play... Actually, he couldn't play center. Let me take a look at something. If he actually fits that third line better than Radulov. Because Radulov doesn't have much better faceoffs. Let's see, DeSalvatore. No, it's the same. Okay, we'll keep him, and Radulov is going to get sent down, I think. Actually, who's the better fit on that fourth line? Actually, we'll go with that instead, as I need Zigomanis to get as much ice time as possible because he's got top 6 potential. So a little bit of roster juggling to start this episode, but it is what it is. So DeSalvatore back down, and we'll just leave him... Wait, where do we want to put him? Maybe instead of Wharton, even though Wharton's older. DeSalvatore, you could play there. E minus. We'll go with that then. Why not? Perfect. So now our team is set and ready to go. Best overall team we could come up with now. And Yip is back in the lineup to start this episode. So that's good. We got Benson back. We got Yip back. We got Scuderi back. And yeah, Seadu's returning again. I think our team definitely looks a lot stronger than last year. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit weaker. But hopefully this team can make a good run this year. And if we miss the playoffs, hopefully we get a really good prospect in. And hopefully it's by a mile that we miss the playoffs. And quickly, I want to also check before we start the simulation. How good is our coach's scheme fit? 69%. That's pretty nice, I'd say. Is there any better coach out there that we could afford? Not looking like it. Oh, 73 in Lamoureux. That's interesting. We do have the budget. I'm going to sign this guy as a... Do we have an associate coach? Yeah, we do. I'll sign this guy as an assistant coach and see if he works a lot better chemistry-wise, because that guy might be a perfect fit for being a head coach for our team. Maybe I'll use him instead of Valaket. Because 73, it's pretty good chemistry. Let's see if he'll accept. He doesn't feel the roster matches. Okay, well, I'll up your money a bit. We'll have to get through the preseason a bit doing this, but I think this coach would be a really good one to bring in, because 70s, you don't really get a 70% scheme fit that often. Or when you do is when the team actually simulates really well. So, where is he? Oh, there he is. Lamoureux. We'll give you more money. You could take over $1 million because you might be a head coach of this team. You might be. Let's see if he'll accept that. He should accept since he's getting paid more money. I've already wasted 9 minutes this episode just doing this in management. I should have done this in the last episode, but it is what it is. We win our first preseason game. We win our second preseason game. And Lamoureux has accepted. Perfect. And we win our third preseason game. Nice. Okay, let me just put in Lamoureux and see if the chemistry works a lot better. Let's promote him to... Actually, let's demote you to NHL goalie coach for a second. And Lamoureux as your NHL head coach. And you as our NHL assistant coach. Yeah, that looks good. Let me just take a look at the chemistry, see if that looks a lot better. Oh yeah, okay, that looks a lot more balanced. I like that. Yep, this is a good coach for our team. How about special team wise? Does it make it worse? A little bit, but that's okay. I need Griffin on the top power play unit. Don't know why that wasn't the case already. Okay, yeah, I'm okay with the chemistry, even though if the special teams look like shit, I think. But there we go. Well, at least we have some good 5-on-5 chemistry, and maybe that will help us in terms of that. So we got a new head coach. Let's begin simulating and see how this team does, and see if this team can make it back to the playoffs or whatnot. But I kind of like the fact that we just picked up a decent head coach. Who knows? Maybe that will make our team simulate better than they actually are. 5-1-1 in the preseason. That's pretty solid. 9 points in 7 games for Teratukin. So Teratukin's really closing in on 1,000 career points as a defenseman, which is awesome. So good to see him at least returning for this last season of his probably in the NHL. How much points does Griffin have this year? Post your comments down below and see how close it is to being accurate. Because I'm really curious on how much he's going to put up this year. Because last year he didn't have over 100 points. In his first 2 seasons he did. Our first 3 seasons he had 2 100-point seasons. So I don't really know where he's going to be situated this season, because our team is a little bit worse. Maybe a little bit better than last season. Maybe they're the same amount as last season. So I don't feel like he's going to hit 100 points again maybe in his career. But you never really know. So let's go to January the 1st and take the season a little bit slower than the other ones, just to see how we are halfway through the year. Start off with a loss, but then it bounced back with a win. That's nice. Then a shootout loss, and a win. Okay. Kind of an inconsistent start, but that's kind of expected with this team. Because we shouldn't be necessarily a super good team, but we shouldn't be a terrible team either. But if we are a terrible team, at least we're getting ourselves a decent draft pick in. And maybe that could help us out in these final few seasons. Okay. 10-7-2. There's another win. We're actually playing pretty solid, but in our losses we're not playing that good. Hopefully Vic Benson's doing decent. At least we only brought him in on a 1-year deal instead of like a multi-year deal. 9-2 win over Vegas. That's a pretty big win. Yeah, when we're winning games, it seems like we're scoring a decent amount of goals. So hopefully Griffin is giving ourselves a good offensive from back end. And it's still not the best start to the year. I don't want to be a tweener team is the thing. 17-16-3. Because if we're a tweener team, then we're not going to do that good. But we're actually kind of lower in the standings in our division. So that's actually good. But at this rate, I don't know if this team's going to be a playoff team. Griffin's over point per game, 39 points in 36 games. So not as over point per game as he has been in the past. Let's continue to simulate. Let's get the rest of the season done with all in one shot. Unless we have like a chance to make the playoffs, then we might slow it down a little bit just to see if we actually do make the playoffs or not. But at this rate, I don't think this team is going to be a playoff team based on our division and how we're simulating, which is kind of good, maybe in a way. Who knows? Blessing in disguise. Now we've won 3 in a row, so who knows? Maybe this team's going to turn it on now. But yeah, I just don't want to be the team that just barely misses the playoffs and then we just get one of those friggin' picks that end up just being a top 6. Like, I need an elite player or I need a Stanley Cup. That's basically the thing. Now our team's on a long winning streak. Then it ends with a loss there. Now we're actually maybe having a chance to make the playoffs. How we're playing this month. Let me actually stop this. Let me go Buyer and let's go continue simulating. But let's stop this simulation a little bit, because our team all of a sudden has really turned it on. Let me stop this. Come on, get this out of the way. There you go. Because we're 35-25-3 now. We're 4 points back of a wild card spot, so our division is really strong, but I don't like how we're out of a playoff spot and we have that much amount of points. Because we're above a lot of teams. Like, if we were in the Atlantic Division, for example, we would actually be 3rd place, which is kind of nuts. Griffin's got 72 points in 63 games. Looks like another year over point per game, which is pretty nuts. If we continue winning these games, we might make the playoffs, but we need to be definitely winning against teams like the Jets, because those are teams that are contending for that playoff spot, and there's another win. This team is playing really good hockey as of late. There's a loss, there's a win, there's a shootout loss, so at least it's a point. Another win, and an OT loss. Our team's back in the playoffs. We're now in a wild card spot. Griffin's at 91 points. He might hit 100 points again this year. He just needs 9 points in 10 games, which, I mean, is definitely doable for him. We're 3 points up now on the Blues, so we have taken that wild card spot from them. We're only a little bit behind the Avalanche and the Jets. Like, we're actually contending pretty well in our division with how we played in the last while. Let's see if we could lock it down and make the playoffs, because I don't want to just barely miss the playoffs, because that would not be fun. And you guys probably would agree with me. It's better to do really bad or really good, you know? Okay, there's 3 more wins. So our team has been so good in the second half of the season. So hopefully that's good signs for things to come. 4 more games. Let's see if we can get some more wins. Okay, there's a couple more wins and a couple losses, but we are in third now in our division, so we're not in a wild card spot anymore. We got 96 points. Griffin is at 102 points. Insane how good this guy is. Like, this team shouldn't even be that good necessarily, but he's like the guy that kind of drives the offense on the back end. Hopefully we're not a first round exit, because if we're a first round exit, that'd be kind of a painful. Let's see, what do you do in these last 3 games of the season? There's a loss, there's a win, and there's a loss, but we do clinch the playoff spot. We do take the wild card spot with 98 points. God damn. So maybe we're going to just be a wild card cheese team. And Griffin finished with 107 points. So he had like 5 points in those last 3 games. Insane. Let's get that season fully done. There we go. So we were a wild card team, but in a very strong division, because 98 points would have had us second best in the Metropolitan, would have had us second best in the Atlantic, but in the Western Conference, it has us as a wild card team. Crazy. Let's take a look at the standings and player stats for the season. Then we'll see who we're going up against in round 1. But yeah, we finished 46, 30, and 6. Pretty solid, I'd say, for the way this team looks on paper. That has us finished where? That has us 10th best in the league. Not bad. Goals for per game. We were one of the best offensive teams in the NHL as well. So curious on who else picked up a lot of points other than Griffin. 3.66 goals per game. Goals against wise, we were one of the best defensive teams. Yeah, we were one of the best defensive teams in the NHL as well. A 4-way tie actually with some other teams. But still, good offense, good defense. That's kind of surprising. Power play percentage was the best in the league, okay. And penalty kill percentage was not too bad either. So we had all around really good simulation from our team. 1 shorthanded goal only, unfortunately, but still pretty good everywhere. So kind of surprised with that. Didn't expect our team to be up there in offense with how it looked at the start of the season. Let's take a look at these player stats now and see who did what. So Chad Burns, 88 points in 82 games, so he stepped up this year. His contract is up next offseason. Not this upcoming one, though. That's a career best year for him. Over 100 penalty minutes as well for him this season. He's closing in on 1,000 points. Pretty nice. Hopefully he can have a good postseason here. Patan, 47 points. That's not too bad for a guy that we just brought back for... Actually, no, or re-signed. Never mind. I'm getting him confused with Scuderi. But pretty solid season from him. For playing second line, I think. Radulov, 30 points. That's actually really good. How much ice time was he getting? 928. Wow. Yeah, pretty impressed with Radulov's stats. 17 goals as well. Yeah, that's pretty decent for the amount of ice time. Left wing wise, Sea-Doo, 79 points. Pretty solid. 51 goals this year. Nice. Good to see Sea-Doo still picking up points at that overall. Hopefully he can do really good in the playoffs. He had almost 30 power play goals this season. Holy crap. So I feel like Griffin probably assisted on a lot of those goals. But 29 power play goals, I don't think I've ever seen a power play goal percentage that high. That might be the highest I've ever seen. Insane. King, 64 points is pretty good. 54 from Zigomanis. So our younger guys are still picking up points, which is good to see. Jacobs, 31 points, and Duclair, 22. Not too bad. Right wing wise, Scuderi, 50 points, bringing him back from New Jersey. Actually, wait. I sorted it by a different thing. That's why I was confused. Yes, bringing him back from New Jersey. A little bit less points, but more goals with us than he was with New Jersey, so not too bad on that front. Petrovicki, 42 points is pretty good, 28 goals. So once again, this guy's just scoring more goals than assisting. He's got over 100 goals, so only 39 assists though. And then Cole, 34 points, not too bad. And Afinosenkov, 33 is pretty good as well for a fourth liner. Defensively, Griffin, 107 points is absolutely ridiculous. He's had 3 100-plus point seasons in the last 4 years, but he's won 3 Norrises already, and he's more than likely going to win another unless for some reason Jeffreyon has an insane season from Minnesota. But wow. Hopefully Griffin can have a really good playoffs here. Because, yeah, he's still signed up for the rest of his franchise mode, which I feel really guilty that I signed him to that contract. Sedin, 62 points is pretty good. When is his contract up? 2 years from now? Or 1 year from now, I guess. Teratukin, 37 points. His points really dropped off this season, but he is over 1,000 points now in his career. Yeah, he's definitely a lot worse than he used to be, but I'll take it still. He had 27 points plus 21. That's why I brought him back. McGrattan was a minus 15, but everybody else was pretty good plus minus wise. Weird. So 23 points for him, and Patolny had 15 in his rookie season, which is not too bad. Goalie-wise, Vic Benson was actually pretty solid. 907 save percentage and a 284. Hopefully he could do good for us in the playoffs. Yeah, that was pretty decent stat line from him. Nice. And then Daryl Goalie, 903 and a 279. 13, 11, and 3. Not bad. So goaltending was pretty solid this year. Let's take a look at the entire league. Let's start with forwards, though, because I am curious if Griffin won another Norris. So, oh man, if I am right, and if for some reason Griffin had the most points as a defenseman, Griffin might have just won himself an Art Ross as a defender. Because Cristiano Scarabelli had 106 points, but Griffin had 107 points. At this stage, I think Griffin might be an Art Ross winner, which is actually insane. I don't even know the last defenseman to win an Art Ross, because I think there was probably like Bobby Orr, or maybe Paul Coffey, maybe not. I don't know, but holy crap, on a Christmas tree. Okay, so 3 100-point players. So Scarabelli, the best on offense, and then Lavin, but then it drops off to Tanaka, and everybody else is under 100 points. Best goal scorer by a forward is Scarabelli with 62. Not a surprise. This guy's still an insane goal scorer. 826 goals already. He's only 31. Unreal. So, best defenseman. What do we got here? Bam. Yep, Griffin had 107 points. Next closest was Jeffrion, but Jeffrion was a plus 42. So, I'm really hoping that the game doesn't just give the Norris to Jeffrion because of his plus minus, because technically he was better defensively than Griffin, but the point total difference is a massive change. Like, that's like 30 point difference, like 36 points. So technically Griffin led the league in points. Does he win an Art Ross this year? Yeah, he would win an Art Ross this year for sure. Does he win the Norris? Hopefully he does. But that's an insane season from Griffin. Him on the top. Didn't think I would see that. For fun, let's take a look at the most hits and stuff. Chad Burns had the most hits in the league. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Most block shots, Troy Raymond. Giveaways, Olvestad. Takeaways, McKinley. Most fights, Jacina in Winnipeg. That's in our division. Best goalie this year for wins was Scavello with 41. Ryopel and Himmel also up there with 40 wins. Best save percentage by a starter is going to be Kuhlman with a 915, but Himmel right there with a 914. And best goals against average by a starter is going to be Kuhlman. So Kuhlman more than likely would win the Vezina, but Himmel definitely is in the running as well because he played a few more games. So that's interesting. Any goalie goals for fun? Nope. Interesting. Best rookie this year for points was Kari Hacken in Seattle, 66 points. Wirtanen, who went first overall, had 60. Interesting. So there is our player stats and team stats for the season. Who are we facing in the first round? And then that'll be it for this episode. We are going to be taking on the Minnesota Wild. Are you kidding me? We have a rematch with the defending Stanley Cup champions, and it's another rematch between Griffin and Jeffrion. That's going to be interesting. So their lineup should be pretty similar to last year, I would assume, but oh man, hopefully we could beat Jeffrion this time. So yeah, this time you could see why they won a Stanley Cup last year. They're very top six heavy though, but Zane Stewart, Cody Tanaka, and Toby Dillon on their top line, which they brought in from Dallas. So they didn't even have them last year when they won the Stanley Cup. I knew I recognized that guy. Second line has Timo Carradine, Solomon Acton, and Dwayne Griffith. Who didn't they bring in free agency as well? Yep. So they did change up their team since they won the Stanley Cup, which is interesting. And then, yeah, their bottom six is definitely a little bit weaker. They got Stajan, they got Finley, and they got Fragapane. And a fourth line of Maximus Mikulski, which is a really cool name. Rohan Milson and Jalen Spooner. So yeah, that bottom six is definitely a little bit on the weaker front, but I mean, it's kind of like a draft to glory bottom six. Defensively, though, this is, yeah, definitely with Jeffrion. This is where they're really good at. Less points this year from Jeffron, but still a good plus minus, a really good plus minus. Very scared of him. He's their best defenseman by far. They also have Molson on their top 2, who's got some X factors. He's a low elite that's 23, so might be decent. Second pairing, Dagenet and Triff, and a top 6 of Bass and Connor. Interesting. Goalie wise, they have Ryopel and they also have Asplund. Did they have Ryopel last year? They did not. So they even changed their goalies. So their team must have lost a lot of good players in the offseason due to the cap reasons or something. But they do have a little bit of a different team. And in depth wise, they have Bantine, they have Cousins, and they have Jackman, Bruce Jackman. Interesting. So overall wise, I think they definitely have the better top 6. We might have the better bottom 6, and then defensively, we might be deeper defensively than they are, but they do have some good pieces like Triff, and Molson's okay. Jeffron's really good. And then these guys are like top 6 defensemen. So defensively, we might be pretty similar. Even if Griffin's not that good of an overall, he's pretty much the exact same type of thing as a Jeffrion. And then not defensively, goalie-wise, we're probably better since we got a better backup. But they got a better starter, so it's going to be very interesting to see who could end up winning this first round matchup, because I honestly have no idea. Let me actually take a look at how they did during the regular season compared to us, and then I'll be it for this episode. I'm just curious on goals for and stuff like that. So they won our division. We came in the wild card spot. They scored a little bit more goals than us this season, 8 goals to be precise. We were a little bit better defensively than they were. Power play wise, we were a little bit better than they are by 3.1%, and they were a little bit better penalty kill wise. Interesting. So we were better defensively, they were better penalty kill wise, but we were better power play wise, they were better offensively. Interesting. So it should be a very tough first round matchup. It might be an even matchup for the fact that we were a wildcard team though. So anyways guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to round 1 against the Minnesota Wild as we look for redemption for them knocking us out in the second round last year. And yeah, hopefully we could get a good playoff run from somebody like Griffin. So I'm guessing down below, and I'll see you guys next time.